Hello. So I was thinking about, I've been thinking about these 30 days that I've been thinking about the days that it's been in this 30-day cycle, or 30-day period of Nate and I not speaking, my partner and I. And it's been really, really, really clear and satisfying and fulfilling, actually, to have this time for myself. And something that dawned upon me, so I'm going to share a little bit about my experience with my sexuality, I guess, kind of. So as a child, I'll try to not be too long about it, but you know how it goes. As a child, so the first time I ever heard about sex was in second grade, officially, because my mom had bought this book in a game. It was a set called The Stork Didn't Bring Me. Hilarious. And I was fascinated by the book. So the book is about, I wasn't made with bread and or butter and eggs. I was made through this process called sex, and it's a cartoon. This baby's narrating the story of how his parents got together, and then they loved each other. And then they got into a fight, and they come back together because it's ovulation time. And then dad slips his penis into mom's vagina, and then there's a orgasm of essentially for both partners, which is amazing. And then the baby's formed, and then they're talking, and they're it's really cute, actually. I think it's in my mom's house, so maybe I'll grab it and take a picture one day for y'all. Not maybe, I'll do that. And so in second grade, I found that book, read it, and my mom had wanted me to read it when I was older because it's meant for older kids, but I found it and I read it, and I brought it to school to show my peers because I was like, yo, this is cute, and also look at this. What y'all think about this? And I got in trouble because sexual stuff at school. And my mom, I remember coming home and my mom explaining to me what sex was, just very matter of fact. It's something that people do when they're older. There's a lot of things that your body has to go through before you're ready to do that. Talking about it is apparently not something you do the way I did it. So that's my first experience. Then throughout life, my dad's side of the family, Haitian side of the family, would make fun of me for liking boys, or don't you dare like boys. I don't know if that's making fun of you, but I don't even know what that is. It's just strange. No boys in here. Y'all better not be, oh, tell me about your boyfriend. Oh, that's your boyfriend? What is this? What is that? It makes me so so there was that. I remember when I was 15 or 16, I think I said the word sex in my dad's kitchen, and he was like, what? And I was like, Dad, do not try to pretend like sex is not something you know about. He was like, what? Oh, no, I don't know about that. I was like, so where do babies come from? He was like, the stork brought you. And I was like, that bird. I was like, you don't even know the bird that brought me? But you can't say sex. Humorous. And that was humorous, and also, yes, an example of what sex was in my life, in terms of we're not talking about it, but I'm not gonna give you any information about it. But also I'm gonna make sure it's a shameful, don't talk about what? Talking about what right now? And so I had weird feelings about sex, clearly, and that went on until high school. I remember I had a crush on a friend of mine. We had this thing going, kid and crush emotion stuff, really deep emotions, empaths and love and shit. Started in 7th grade, all of this stuff, but in 10th grade I was really crushing on this person. I didn't want to really have sex with him, but I feel I did express that to him, and maybe I did. Maybe at some point I did, between 10th and 11th grade. And then that kind of went away. And then I met my first boyfriend, Raheem. Hello, Raheem. And we met when I was 17. Summer of going into college. We met at Westfest. And that was in April. And then we dated from May 2012 until like 2016. So in that summer when I first met him, that was the first time I was like sexual with somebody in terms of like kissing. He was my first. I kissed that other boy, my first crush, in the subway. It was not very cute. It was in Union Square. I remember it. I walk past that place sometimes and I'm like, man, this is cute. It's a very New York first kiss. I'll take it. But I think I definitely consider Raheem my first like romantic kiss, like where I was really like given into the kiss. It was very, very romantic. Our relationship was very cute. First like oral sex. Wow, that car is wild. First oral sex exchange. I feel weird talking about it, which is why I'm like this. But also it's what it is. I forget that I can talk about whatever I want. It's my experience. What am I supposed to do? Lie about it? Never. Tell the truth always. Yeah. We did a lot of like exploring without penetrative sex. And then going into college, we had broken up right before college to like pursue our sovereignty, and lived in the same dorm, like in opposite wings on the same floor. And like I think on the like first or second night of school, I was like, you know what, like I'm trying to have sex with you, like we're not dating anymore, and also we were dating and I love you. And if I'm having sex, if I came to school and now I'm gonna have sex and stuff, I would want it to be with the first time, to be with someone significant, someone that I thought I would have sex with. Because I thought I would have sex with him over the summer or at the end of the summer. And then we did, and that was really nice. At 17, I have to actually be real and say, I have not really thought about that. I've not really thought about that experience. So I'm going to do that today. I'm going to set aside time things from college have been really reconnecting with me, because college was a big awakening time for me. And right now, as I'm reading and learning and integrating and remembering, a lot of things are just coming together. So I'm being brought back to college a lot, which is why I'm like, wow, I'm going to really reflect on that. Thank you all for being here for that. It was also, I feel like sex for me has also been amidst a lot of drama. Yeah. That's a really good way to put it. Sex with me, sex with me so amazing. Also, sex with me so dramatic. Not in terms of the act of sex itself. I think this act of sex with me is amazing. I do know that I am I'm a sexual being that is like dealing with their sexuality, and also I am very good at sex because I have a lot of emotions and physical stuff. I'm not gonna explain this to you all. But I mean dramatic in that circumstances around me having sex, relationship wise, there's been a lot of drama. So I think about the first time I had sex with Raheem, we weren't dating. So after that, it ended up, I think maybe like 2 weeks after he was hooking up with somebody, we were kind of in an openish kind of thing. We were essentially dating because we were having sex a lot, because it was my first time having sex, so I wanted to keep having sex. And trying to get it in. I haven't had this for 17 years, and now I'm like, what? This is amazing. And he was hooking up with somebody, window open, so I happened to see, because I was outside. And what a life. And then there was a bunch of drama around that. So that's what I mean. Like after we had sex, there was just like a lot of stuff that happened amidst that. And then I remember we had I guess almost a pregnancy scare. Yeah, the condom snapped. I remember hearing a pop, and like we didn't really register it. And then he came, and I remember there being stuff. There shouldn't be stuff if there's a condom, and I was pretty shook about it. And but I remember laughing a lot, and then going to the health center, and I think getting Plan B. That was all in my freshman year. So there was like something that was more funny to me, but there was like emotional drama around that first time. And then the next time sexuality and sex became a thing for me, because I was in a monogamous relationship with Raheem, was in my sophomore year. I had a crush on this girl, and so we ended up, and that opened up this whole thing for me where I was like, what? Queer? This makes sense to me. I remember when I was with a babysitter. This is gonna be interesting. I've never shared this like so widely, but here I am. I was with a babysitter when I was little. My mom used to drop me to this woman's house, and I remember, I have a very stark memory of being in the closet with this other little girl, and us, like, I don't know what we were doing, kissing, I think, touching, looking, and like being like children, like, what is that? What do you have? Oh wow, it's like the same. That's weird. So yeah, I remember that happening. I remembered that came back to me, and I just remembered it again, but remembered that in my sophomore year, and ended up telling Raheem about it, and being like really, I was very curious about sex and sexuality, and I asked him a lot of questions in regards to like, how does one like just hook up with somebody? What do you mean just have sex with somebody that you just met? Or like, what? And I would ask him about how he came to know his past sexual partners, how he's done the things. Like, I was really, really intrigued, and because I had been unaware for like the majority of my life about this part of life. And Raheem saw that and was like, you know what, like, in our junior year, we opened our relationship so that I could explore. He's like, if you want to be with me, I want to know that I let you be free, bars. Not that, you know, we marry, bars. And then you're like, this is not for me. Also, bars. So, like, sow your wild oats, as he said. And, reap your wild oats. Because I was thinking sow your wild oats and then you reap what you sow, because of where we are. So, the pass, as we called it, the open relationship thing, was very interesting, and that was just a lot in terms of sex. So it was very fun in terms of exploring my sexuality, being a desirable person, desiring people. But I was also making a lot of poor decisions, I feel. Making a lot of rash decisions, impulsive decisions, things that were not of, like, self-serving, not self-loving. Going to people who I didn't like, out of convenience and out of, like, I guess, physical comfort, which is a thing, but also to sacrifice your safety and your standards for yourself, of how you treat yourself for another person, is, you know, it's something to deal with. So, a lot of that was happening. I was hooking up with a lot of cis men who didn't want relationships, and I didn't want a relationship necessarily with them because I had a relationship with Raheem. But that was actually, now as I'm thinking about it, holy smokes, that was my first time like feeling polyamory, because I didn't want to have sex with these people initially, but I realized the exchange that we would have, for me to get the emotional comfort that I want, or like emotional connection, because I really loved cuddling platonically, but I knew, and I know, a lot of people don't do the cuddling without the sex. So I ended up being like, all right, exchange, which is not fair to me, and not fair to them. But also, yeah, I feel like it left me feeling. I was talking about sexual assault with a friend yesterday, and it made me feel assaulted in that I don't want this actively. This is not enthusiastic consent. It was like sometimes because I did enjoy it with people, but that wasn't what I was looking for. I realized I was wanting relationships with other people where like cuddling and intimacy, physical intimacy was a thing, but not necessarily that sex was necessitated. And people didn't want relationships. And also I had a relationship, and I wasn't claiming polyamory because I didn't know what that was at the time. So no words for this. Wow. I feel like I've blamed myself a lot for that time period in my life and for who I was and how I acted, and it feels really good to to be like, wow, that was learning. So that continued. That was a lot. I did have sex with some women during that time. One woman. Maybe one woman. And that's really what the whole thing was supposed to be about. And I've always kind of shied away from pursuing women for two reasons, now that I'm thinking about it. The two reasons are, and I gotta go soon. The two reasons are, it's easier for me to date men, I feel, because I know what to do. Yeah. Which is not much, just be myself, and it would be the same with women too. Which ties into the second thing, that I feel uncomfortable. And I think it is with myself, obviously, about, I suppose, how I present, what I feel like expectation-wise, what I feel like I need to do to pursue a woman or to be a woman that is pursued by women, and to allow that experience. And also to, like, for a long time I feel like I thought about what does that mean. Not that I'm like afraid of being queer, but what does that mean in terms of like, do I gotta tell my parents, and like realizing it doesn't have to be all of that now. So I've been a lot more chill, but also feeling like, I feel like, okay, this is what it is too. I think with women, this is why I think there's expectations. I feel like I would have to pursue a woman versus I don't have to pursue a man. Not in the same ways. And I feel like that pursual is what makes me feel nervous and hesitant, because to think about like approaching somebody and being like, I find you really attractive. I feel like I've done that before. It's not that challenging, but when you really like someone or you find them really attractive, I'm just like, so I've been leaning into that a little bit more, challenging myself just to tell people I like a particular thing about them, a specific compliment, or telling them how they make me feel. Like, I really, really, really enjoy your vibe. It's so grounding and open and refreshing, like something like that. It's been cool trying to, speak the beauty that I see in things and in people. So yeah, that's my thing with women. And our senior year, we closed our relationship for the like one-sided open relationship in our junior going into senior summer college. And then senior year, I thought about all the things I had learned. I guess I had a little dose of what I had just had, and also it was like, it's college, like it's senior year. If we're gonna commit to each other forever, like, it'd be cool to like chill and do our own thing. But we lived together and opened our relationship, so it was a lot. You see what I'm saying? Y'all see the pattern I'm talking about? Like, sex, drama. It's like sex, and then there's all this drama around it, which makes it an undesirous thing for me at times because of the way I make choices around it. It's not like, oh, I have sex and then there's drama, oh my god. No, it's like I make choices that lead to sex being also conflated with drama, and then to enforce a belief that I have. And thinking about what my parents said and my family always said, like, it's all this, like, all your life changes after you have sex, and it's like this dramatic thing, and it's like, don't do it because it's gonna get your head all fucked up. And I'm like, that's real, because I guess the hormones and also that programming. So, wow. Really cool to meet here. So that's me through, that's like like my experience so far. It has been my experience with sex, and I feel like I'm tired of telling that story. It's been freaking 20 minutes. So how I feel about sex now. The reason it even came to all of this, and this is actually really fair, I was thinking about my relationship with my partner. We're taking, these 30 days to chill, and be clear in our own stuff. And also, I was just reading a message. That's why I trailed off. It looked like I was lost in a reverie. I was realizing, like, my sexuality has not existed by itself. And I had a thought that was like, wow, I need this time. Because I don't really think of sex and sexuality without a partner. In terms of, it's always been a very limiting thing for me. Like, I have a partner who I have to consider all these things, and thus I can't act on my desires. And I've never had a period of being able to just act on my desires without worrying about hurting somebody else, which is my choices in the past of choosing to be in the security of a relationship, while also wanting the exploration, which is cool and also a lot to manage. It's just a lot to manage. And I think that did a lot. And I think about this most recent thing that I've had with, I guess my ex, not in terms of, not Raheem, but my ex that I dated over the summer, and Nate. Our whole thing, so dramatic. And me, after that, I was like, I don't want to do this polyamory thing. Like, I can't handle all of these emotions and things. That's a real thing. But now I'm feeling a lot more, because I've been so much more grounded in myself and aware of myself and what I want and what I need and what I value, which is authenticity. I love myself. I realize I have so much energy, and it's so sacred to share this with people. Like, to share it generously, but to, like, engage it in sex with somebody is something that I hold to be sacred. It is something that I hold to be sacred. Just like I feel like weed is sacred, not throwing out weed. Throwing out weed is a sacrilege. Like, that's what I mean. So, like, sacredness doesn't have to be like all of this stuff, but, like, it is something that is significant and important to me and holds a significance for me. And it's been really cool discovering my sexuality and being more down with what I desire and asking myself, what do I desire? What do you want to see? And I got some, like, really frank things I want to say, and I feel like I'm low key holding back because I don't know who will see this, and, like, I low key am like, oh my god, family, but also, like, I like titties and I like booties, and I think pussies are beautiful, and I think dicks are beautiful, and I feel like I think all things are beautiful. Like, whatever you have is beautiful. I think bodies are beautiful. I think we have so many various forms, and being able to just see is in someone welcoming you into their space to be able to see them in their most, like, vulnerable. It's really beautiful to me. That's really beautiful. And I feel emotional because I don't think I've ever really, like, just acknowledged that for myself and been like, it's okay. Yeah. It's okay to like a bunch of stuff. All the things. Some of the things, none of the things. Because when I didn't like any of the things, I was so pressed about it too. Like, what is wrong with you? I've been realizing, like, I was telling somebody recently that I noticed that they like to control things, and I was like, I only noticed that because I see so much of me and you. And realizing, like, I can be very nitpicky at times. And that's part of why this thing is happening with Nate and I, this break time. Because I've been so, like... Because I'm using him, that projection. That's why I think love is so serious. You use the projection of love, the person that you're closest to in relationship. A lot of the time, it's showing you a lot of things. And it really depends on how you work through it and work with that person. So I feel like I was using his existence and my projections onto him to, like, deal with my own shit. Because I was realizing, like, if I don't accept him and I judge him and I make fun of him, and I don't make fun of him, I don't think, but, like, if I don't support him and I like nag and all of these things, like, what am I doing to me? How am I doing to me? How am I doing those things to me? Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. That was awesome. And I'm glad to have recorded this. Have a wonderful, wonderful Thursday. And